I'd like to welcome everyone to the conversation where we talk about everything Cowboys. My favorite team, your favorite team, America's team. Here with your host, Coach Marv.
Cowboy Nation. This is we got a preseason game tomorrow. I probably won't be with y'all until tomorrow night. You may get a after the show party video from me. I'm gonna try to get in and watch the game. I got a event that was planned for a long time ago that I have to be a part of. So I won't be with the fellas if the fellas, if I'm on the live stream with the fellas, I don't know yet if I'm part of that group still yet or not. I don't know, but I'll see. And but I'll probably be back for the next preseason game. But that preseason game, I won't be there because of the fact, and I will do a show tomorrow. Maybe sometime, maybe later on tonight or that night on Saturday night or on Sunday for sure. My to my comments about what's going on with the game and what I thought of the first preseason game against Seattle, and my thoughts about some of the guys. I did want to there's a certain things I want to vent about today, but I do want to say one of the things that I'm going to look for more in this game that's coming up. I'm going to take a good look. I hadn't had a chance to take a good look this preseason. Um, I hadn't had a good chance to take a good look at the backup offensive lineman. Um, I need to get my eyes on these guys, and I think in game situation you get a lot. In practice situation you get a lot, but in game situation we're gonna have a lot of our backup offensive linemen playing. I'm gonna get a chance to probably see who's playing backup center. I'm gonna get a chance to see some of the guards and the tackles that we have in camp to be able to get a judge of them because it's very important that second string offensive line help our offense stay at the top of the league last year because they stepped in with Tyler Guyton. Tyler Guyton missing like 6 games. Tyler Booker missing 4 games. Tyler Smith, I think, missed 1 game. Terrence Steele didn't miss any. Your BB missed about 4 to 5 games himself. And one of your backup center from last year is no longer here. So we had a lot of guys that was missing. And I want to say hello to everybody who's coming into this this live stream. I appreciate y'all, man. Good evening, man. Good evening, y'all guys, man. Thank y'all for coming. Y'all, my loyal followers. It's the Stephen Jones, one of my loyal members, comes in the chat. I want to let him know that his shirt is on the way. It's been printed. It's been put together. He's going to be very impressed by the packaging that we sent him the shirt. We sent him a shirt, and it came with we put a nice insert in there of telling you how much. And anybody who orders a shirt, that's what's going to come. It's going to come in nice packaging with an insert in there telling you how much we enjoy you supporting the channel and supporting. Uh, and listen, Terrence Steele is, I'm gonna say this, man. Terrence Steele is a battler. Terrence Steele, listen, you gotta understand who Terrence Steele is battling, man. And I think a lot of stuff is magnified when Terrence Steele, man, because he's the underdog. Nobody wants him to be there anyway. So, he's under that. And listen, I think with the coaching staff, likes Terrence Steele. Um, if you watch Terrence Steele, we want Terrence Steele to be perfect. I think our we want our guys to be perfect. Mark Q wasn't perfect on the Great Wall. Kevin Govan wasn't even perfect on the Great Wall. They had hiccups, but but together in how they got the job done, they got the job done. Doug Free here was not, but it's the collective group of the offensive line. Offensive line is never about one guy. One guy can never destroy an offensive line. Never. It is one of the most unified fronts. And Terrence Steele and your tight ends getting even better um, tells me a lot about this team. I think it's a lot about this team. I think the running game is going to take some time to get going, and that's going to help Terrence Steele. It's going to help a lot of other guys. It's going to help this offensive line. This running game is one of the ones you have to really work on, and you have to work on it in a very dirty manner for it to get going. And sometimes a running game don't really get going until you get into actual live game type play when they're tackling and going to the ground. And once that running game gets going, you're going to start to see uh, a lot comes on. And I say this about defensive linemen. When defensive linemen know what's coming, some of those have advantage on you. So when you running plays in the scrimmage and setting in, it's all passes, and we know it's going to be passed. We know it ain't it's nothing. And they coming off the ball, they're attacking you. When we know we in this certain set, when we doing these certain things, the defense knows it's coming. And it makes your offensive line better when they have blocked. Where a lot of us struggle with guys if you're playing against good guys you know that that know what's going on. So uh, we'll see. I don't think it's I don't think it's a glaring thing, but I think everything with Terrence Steele is magnified. And I say, I think Terrence gave up like 7 sacks last year. He didn't even miss a down. I mean, he played the whole season. Um, we act like he was so porous, that it's crazy when it comes to Terrence Steele. But that's a good observation when you hear these type things. But you got to remember who you're hearing things from, and then some things, and I do credit some of the guys. I do think that I really give them a lot of credit for what they say. But I'm not saying Terrence Steele is an all world alignment, but I think Terrence he's a very good right tackle. Um, and I think if you utilize him right, he's gonna be very good. So, but the running game is very important, and I think that's struggling. But we got to be patient enough to allow it to work, and we cannot. And that's part of my venting today. Uh, I wanted to vent, and I'm not gonna be on here long because I tell you I'm gonna be on here long. I got a lot of preparation I got to do, but I wanted to vent today. And the reason I wanted to vent today is because I'm frustrated with our Cowboy Nation, man. And and I know my voice is not, you know, if you come into this, say, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. I know I don't have the biggest platform. I'm very proud of the platform I built. I think I built a lot of it on just working and just putting stuff out there. I think I'm now over 300 videos in, and that's a landmark for me. I know my platform is not big, but it is growing greatly because of you people. But I'm disappointed in our Cowboy fans for our thirstiness. And I know I'm about to say some stuff. If it gets around to certain people, they're gonna think I'm coming at them. And it's probably why, I feel like in some of my counterparts or some of my things that I started out, people I started out with is a cold shoulder. Coach Marv is not going to change. I'm about football, not soap opera. The only way you're gonna really win is you get a team that comes together and it works. It happens every year, but I think our thirstiness is really taking over. Not and listen, I'm one of the people that we feel that yes, our voice matters and that there are some things that we need to point out from the organization to make sure that we keep things up, but we can go overboard with that. That we start scrutinizing every little thing, thinking that we're trying to stay on top of things. And then and what it does is it blinds us to we should realize we got some good stuff working here. And I think sometimes we as a Cowboy Nation want the cherry on top because we want and I say that because we have a bougie atmosphere, a bougie thing about us that we need the spotlight, the glamour. But we don't makes no difference who it is. We are the spotlight at the end of it. And that's not cockiness. That's the truth. And I always said that the sun don't need a spotlight. But more than glamour, we need humbleness and work. We have made more stars here than we have ever gotten from other places. Let me say that again. I'm gonna say that again. In our history, and you hear me tell us about the history because history repeats itself. You are who your history is. We have made more stars than we have got from other places. We have never been a big free agent. Well, free agency just came in, but we have never been a big time free agent pickup team. Now you could name some of them: Terrell Owens. We didn't make Charles Haley. Yeah, we didn't make Terrell. We made Tony Romo, an undrafted free agent, a lot of money, and probably one of the top quarterbacks at that time. Even though what you want to talk about his winning or throwing the wins, I defend him so much because I knew it wasn't Tony Romo. It was about the team. And we're in that same boat now. We think there's one or two guys that's going to change the team atmosphere. They're going to help. And I'm not saying you don't get these. No, I'm not saying you don't try to play. To me, you try to improve. But you got something good here. But you're too blind to see it. You want the next guy to be perfect. And it's almost you want him to be perfect so you could justify your argument. That's when we going down a bad road, man. The unity of this team is what's going to make or break us. And as I say in my shows a lot, man, as I vent, I say stuff, you know, I may relate a story and I come back to that same thing because it's justifiable. But when I say certain things, people take it to another level, thinking I'm patting certain guys on the back, but it's the process of what I'm talking about. I'm not going back to deep history. I'm just going back Mike McCarthy's second year here. Coming off of Nolan's defense, which so much was worse than what we just had, and it had no continuity either. We brought in free agent after free agent with Mike Nolan's defense. And most of those guys didn't even make it through the year. We start cutting some of them guys like Pope and the safety and all of. We start cutting some of them guys before we even get to the end of the season. We try to build a defense with guys from other places. And when it went south, it was horrible. I don't even think we remember how horrible it was. It was mutant in the locker room. Guys were running. I remember the Cleveland game. Guys were running for screen passes, and we were like, we didn't even try to tackle the guy. "200 rushing yards was a commonplace against the Cowboys. And this is not patting Dan Quinn on the back. When I tell the story, I'm telling the story so you can relate and say, yeah, we got something good here. He comes in, and I keep going over this, but nobody's listening. That defense went from horrible to, I think, right in the top 12 or 15 in total defense. Top 10 scoring defense. And the talent that they had on that defense is nowhere comparing to the talent on this defense right now. I did a show where I put the rosters up there. Nello Gallimore. We drafted 7 guys in the draft. Yes, we drafted Michael Parsons. We drafted a young Osa, 3rd round. A lot of people talk trash about that draft pick. One of the guys we drafted, he playing for the Giants. Oh, he mean not even playing for the Giants anymore. Nello Gallimore. We got a Carlos Watson. An LVE. A Larry, Anthony Brown. Y'all know how much hell y'all gave him? And Trayvon Diggs coming off a rookie year, yeah, he had 4 interceptions, but he was getting burnt like toast. Javon Curse, and the only person who vouched for Javon Curse was both Cowboys that I know of. Hell, Javon Curse couldn't even vouch for himself. He didn't even start. Nope, he wasn't even a starter. Two places wasn't even a all-time star. But Boss Cowboy said he might be all right. What happened? All of a sudden now we start chasing. Where in the weeds are we saying, okay, we find the stuff in the weeds now? No, we start chasing. And he was right. Not for the long term. For the short term, he was right by the curse. In the right system. We gave Donovan Wilson his first a chance to start that year. We brought KZ in. No big time names. Not even guys that said they had already showed you they was ballers on a top level. Now we say guys got to show us. We can't wait for the guys to do nothing on the field. We can't see potential in guys. We got to have the guys already got it. Thirsty, man. That's what that called. And then we pile it up and say, just because we didn't win, now looking at context, that's the same stuff it's the same stuff that we defend Dak Prescott for. Now looking at context, this says we didn't win, so it must be that fault. And that defense with Randy Gregory getting his first start. Randy Gregory wasn't no 10, 11 sack guy. We gave him his first start. Starting role. Adonis Armstrong. The D-Law. And in that same year, D-Law gets hurt with his foot, and Doris and Randy Gregory gets a high ankle sprain. They missed 4 games. We have no defensive ends, they say. We start moving Michael Parsons more to the defensive end. And we still, Michael Parsons is a young pup trying to learn how to be an edge rusher. Most of his sacks that year came from the linebacker position. And we stayed in games and we won games with our defense. And this defense grew together. And the only reason this defense was good, because we forget about the interviews, do we? We forget about how they used to talk. Know who they sound like? When Durden was there, we talked trash about Durden. Know who they sound like when they were doing the interviews back then? They sound like the Seattle team. Everybody was talking about how everybody play their role, how we have our own standards. We playing for each other. They sound like a unified front all the way through. And they played like it. And they went into that first playoff and they played their ass off together. I ain't say individually that they were going to individually go and do great things. That's never the case. In football, you have guys that fit together and they'll play well. Certain guys can go other places and be dominant. Those are what we call the superstar guys. Some guys are just good for your team and your setting. Those are guys that says good for the system. We don't have those guys. Kenny Gant couldn't make it no place else. Alvin Harper couldn't make it no place else. Look at all the guys that left Dallas after they got started moving around. A lot of those guys failed. But in Dallas, in this group, they were damn good for their job. And I look at that team that Quinn had, and we was amazed. We watched the thing, people. We'll talk about that defense. And here it is. You got a chance of a defense that got 10 times more talent, more veterans, more talent, more button talent, and I believe a better guy at defensive coordinator. And you panicking. And you saying you ain't got enough. And guys, is here. I see we watching practice. We watching Rebel turn into what Diggs was after his first year. We watching it in our face. We're gonna watch a Bland who's been beleaguered turn into a better Anthony Brown. Watch my face. With structure. Because Quinn gave him structure. And a belief. Not what that old stupid man gave them before. I don't even got his name. Mike Nolan. Same thing with Eberflus. Now guys believe it. Then you got a guy like Quinn Williams, a Clark. Guys that fit in that role. Then you got a good guy at safety. Then you go get a veteran guy at safety. Rashard Gary, his leadership. See, y'all talk about one of the. Yeah, I understand. Listen, man, I'm not doubting Max Carson. I'm not doubting that at all, people. I'm not doubting that. But I'm not throwing the kitchen sink because this here, the Raiders only going to trade him if you throw the kitchen sink at him. And how smart would that be? In the greatest team sport it is, one guy is not going to change them. How smart would that be? Well, if we was the first team, I would say, no, well, hey man, you want him. That's no, hey, that's the price. But when another team has already entered that price and they rescinded, and we act like it's no, that's fake news. What they don't know. Them people say that no, there's nothing wrong with this beef. Then I have a conversation with somebody yesterday that I really value their opinion. That knows a lot of his side stuff. He said, ain't nobody sign off that this guy he gonna last forever. No. And we're not looking at our guys and saying, man, they coming along. And they playing it and they hey listen, we see it. No, damn them. But those same people said damn curse. He had a hell of a damn year for us. I have no problem with trying to improve this team. I know somebody asked me today, said, Coach, what's your biggest problem with Max Cosby? My biggest problem is, does he fit what Christian Parker wants? Because none of his moves says that's the type of edge rusher he's looking for. Even when I hear the linebackers talk, I just heard an interview with uh Izraku. He said, yeah, there's some different things. Yes, we do have to drop in coverage and drop and do that and go. Yes, we got some other responsibilities. This disguise stuff. When I watched the guy that was running the defense, the outside, the drills, he's an outside linebackers coach. A lot of that stuff he's teaching, for some reason, we want what we want. We could get some guys to improve this team. If you want some guys to improve this team, you talking about veterans. But let me tell you something, man. Every championship team, every good team, gonna need guys that y'all not even talking about to play well. I think people think in their mind because this guy, that is an automatic that he gonna be that dog. Y'all know this, man. People who played this game, the one in this case, when I hear it coming from people that played big time sport, big time, they understand, man. All that talk, you gotta go in between those lines. You gotta fit the system, and you gotta rock and roll. And everybody don't play well everywhere. You got a guy that spent 4 or 5 months trying to implement it, put in his system, and the belief into his system to his coaches and to his players to build that continuity and that trust. First time head offense defense coordinator. First time new staff. That is important. Anything that shakes that up, they have to change its philosophy. I wouldn't do it. You dealing with shaky ground. Because if they lose the trust and it changes the philosophy of what you are doing, and you lose the trust of guys that you have already put your trust in, and you start to see them mold, it could turn bad, man. I told you, I said it last time when guys started going self-preservation because they end up. I told you last. Some people said, Coach, you was better on point. Okay, I'm telling you in this case. This is the crazy thing about it. And this crazy thing about it. And this is where we have to understand. And sir, and I'm not going at you, but this is the truth. This is the truth right here. Who said we put 3 offers in? Where did that come from? From a source. How many every player that comes out that's released from a team, there's always a source that is linked to the Cowboys. Because if you link to the Cowboys, it's a hot story. Yes. Yes. All of them. Every player. It's always a. So this is what I want to say. If we put 3 offers and then Baltimore rescinded the offer, he should be already in Dallas. Because if Baltimore put a higher offer and he got rejected because he didn't pass a physical, how in the world you think you can sell that to somebody else at the same price? Listen, man. Let's see what I'm saying. We doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't. But we hear 4 years, oh, we did 3 jobs. But doesn't make sense. And you make a call. Now listen to me. Cosby is that type of defensive end. Okay? Nobody you sign is that type of defensive end. Nobody. One of the guys that is that type of defensive end, in Clowney, you let walk. So you don't think, and see, this is what I get, and listen, I've been said a lot of stuff about the Jones, but I do think this. I think the Joneses do give their coaches, when they first get in there, a lot of rope. Because Mike McCarthy got a lot of rope to hire Mike Nolan, to do all that stuff. He got all the rope he wanted. And I believe they gave Christian Parker the rope he wanted to build his defense and to teach his defense and develop. I don't think we keep hearing what Schottenheimer kept saying at the beginning of this thing. What did they kept saying? What did they kept saying when they hired this coaching staff? From the beginning, they said they want what? From the beginning, they said they want what? They said they want a staff that can get to the players and teach. They kept saying that. And develop their players. They kept saying that. Because they understand one thing. And I don't think we understand this. We think the numbers game, and this is nothing about salary cap. There's a numbers game where you're talking about roster spot. There's certain guys that you just can't stash, and they're gonna be happy with being stashed. Then there's certain guys you can't put away without somebody snatching. I think we think because we the Cowboys, we can just say, all right, don't worry about it. Put him on the practice squad. Nobody gonna take him. We can bring a guy here, he can sit on the bench. We don't need a guy. Let's bring in 2 great linebackers and let them sit on the bench. And we got them and we need them. If they ain't special team players, you ain't gonna bring no Bobby Wagner sit on the bench. He ain't playing no damn special team. So what I'm saying to you is this. If they kept saying that, and then in his press conference, he talked about saying the year 2. Listen, man, In today's NFL, year 2 is, if you got to get to year 3, you're almost out the door. The level has stepped up. It stepped up in high school. You got more guys now as freshmen dominating the high school. It's the level. Listen, I'm an old school guy. Say, hey man, yes, we need to progress, but I understand now that by talking to coaches, they're saying, hey man, there is no more of guys got 2 years, 3 years. If they're saying that in the high school, in the college level, you damn sure 1 year acclimate, next year let's go. We're gonna sink and swim with you if you think you got time in the second year. And by the third year, we expected you to have all-star level, but damn good level in the second year. That's the truth. And then in this league, the only way you're gonna get is you got to get thrown in the fire. You ain't gonna get it backing up somebody playing 10 snaps a game. I never got into this conversation about F those picks. The livelihood of an organization. I watched the who had that philosophy. See, a lot of y'all don't dig into history or and look at teams. Y'all, we say things. You know who was famous for that? Dan Snyder and the Washington at that time Redskins. They went years to get every big free agent that came out. Dan Snyder said he didn't give a damn about picks. You know that put them in the hole for years. Yeah, yeah. Because when you got to fill your team with guys, free agent guys, because there's a reason. Now, all majority of all free agents don't. It's not there because they're so great. That means their time is worn out. They're on the downside, and if you're outpaying the team that had them, you most likely overpaying. But there is a mixture you gotta have. I ain't saying you gotta go all one way. No, there's a mixture. And yes, you got to find those marshals because those marshals are what we call team fit guys. You homegrown your stars, and you find guys around them to fit. I talked about this story the other day with a guy, and I wish I could find the article when when stuff started going bad for the Cowboys during the Bears Switzer years, and we still have some stars like Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith, but they said now it felt like there's some diamonds with a bunch of shit around, where we had diamonds with a lot of talent around them, guys that was hungry and doing their job, and we had a coaching staff that demanded everybody do their job. Everybody was stars, but everybody was great at their roles. And then when we started getting a bunch of guys that didn't fit their roles, didn't respect their roles, the stars looked dull. I think we're getting a team now that we'll get guys to fit their role. But instead of us embracing the role and just visualizing, saying, okay, I see the role for him. We'll see a role, and then what we'll do is, Mr. Duncan, thank you, sir. Hey man, thank you for the super chat. Yes, that was a great super chat there. Great super chat, Mr. Duncan. Thank you. I wish I could put it on the screen. I don't have that that capability to to put it on the screen. I wish I can put it on the screen. Oh, let me see. Let me see. I made Mr. Duncan. You might have. Yes, sir. I see that. I'm trying to. But if y'all in the chat, y'all are on YouTube. If y'all on YouTube, y'all can see the y'all can see Mr. Duncan's super chat. That but let me say what the thing. He said, "What's up, Coach? I think Max Cosby deal with a underlying injury, and the Raiders don't want him anymore, and find out until after they made a deal with who wasn't hurt last season. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Raiders don't want anyone to find out until after they have made the deal. And yes, yeah, that that's how it is with him. And let's be realistic about it, right? And I want y'all to be realistic about this. Um, the Raiders, um, the Raiders. Let me explain this. The Raiders are playing him in preseason because if they're trying to shop him, they're playing him in preseason. He wants to let everybody know that he's playing. And I'm not saying Max Crosby is bad, damaged goods. I know a guy of that nature. I know that guy of that magnitude. I know that guy of that magnitude. We got to have red flags if he's that guy of that magnitude, and an organization like Baltimore that loves defensive guys. If they turn their back on that deal to say we want out of that deal, we have to give that some credence. We cannot say that doesn't mean anything. We would be fooled to say that. And I don't describe in the philosophy of saying our chances of this guy goes up. Listen, man, you don't think the Rams you don't think the Rams talking about they being cautious with Miles Garrett. They saying we just being cautious. If I know McVay, like if Sean McVay, the particular type of coach he is, he wants to see you live, not if in practice. This is your new defense. And I understand Miles Garrett's that guy. But it's important that the guy that you bring in there that now is the leader because you brought him there to be a focal point, to be on the field with his guys. And you can't tell me they ain't gone through the mind of the Rams like, hmm. And if you think about it, Cleveland was smart. They done kind of reset with a guy like Verse, and then they got draft picks. And getting back to what I was saying about draft picks, we say, oh, I didn't know. Yeah, Daniel Snyder tried that, man. He went and got every Dion, Hainsworth, every big time free agent came out. The guy from the Carolina Panthers, every big time free agent came out. Daniel Snyder threw money at him. Didn't draft nobody. Didn't care about draft picks, traded, and went out and got free agents. And they looked just like a team that what guys came there to get money. That's what they look like. Guys came there to get money. We don't win. I got paid. And I understand, man. This got to be what got to be so thirsty. I don't think the organization's gonna give the whole. You know, if you get Cosby at a good price, but you better make sure make sure damn sure your defensive coordinator says his own boy for you to do everything that he wants to do with this defense. And I got one more thing I want to say, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I'm not I don't coach the Cowboys. I don't have no ownership of the Cowboys. And yes, I give my opinions and stuff. And I've said these are the things you need to do. And yes, you have to do that. That I understand. I'm just like everybody else. But if your organization going and listen, and I understand our voice matters. But if your organization making moves because of what the fan base want, your ass is always going to lose. If you're coaching your team and running your team about what the fans want and not what you in this room think is in the best interest of your team, the people that you see every day, that you practice every day, that you know where they're supposed to go and how you teaching it. When you go to the meetings and stuff you talk about, the relationships you got, the things you do on the side meetings, the things that the philosophy what you're thinking about, the structure what you're trying to put in to your team, and you're taking advice of how to run your team for somebody who's not in that type in all those meetings and all that stuff, and you're making moves because of what they say, you will find yourself in some bad shit. And yes, I'm one of the people that scrutinize guys, coach from the sideline, saying you can't do that. Why you do that? Yes. But I know understand certain times I gotta say, hey man, what is what their philosophy was. That's why I listen to interviews. Because when I hear certain things, I'm like, wait a minute, these two don't match. I do the assumption, but then I have to say, wait a minute, let me listen to this. Like after a while, I started believing, saying, how did Mike McCarthy get up and talk about run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, and then you don't do it? Then I was saying, well, he must, Kellen Moore must have all the autonomy. And then I watched Kellen Moore go to to Philadelphia and run the hell out of the football. And then I watched us not run the ball as much when Kellen Moore was gone than when Kellen Moore was here. Then I said that don't match. And I was, and I did say this. I said I don't agree with Kellen Moore of all that, but I apologize. That was Mike McCarthy bullshit. Because then I can look at his history. And I said, man, and I had to get a Green Bay fan to tell me this. Yeah, a long time Green Bay fan. He came up to me and said, man, Marv, that's Mike McCarthy, man. Come on, what? And I see it in Mike McCarthy yesterday. We talked about Dak Prescott dinking and dunking. Mike McCarthy's a dink and dunk guy. That's Brett Favre. Mike McCarthy only think throw the ball across the middle. Watch that game yesterday. Everything outside, the butt hook routes. If we can talk about good defense, Pittsburgh look, guess what they were running yesterday? The butt hook routes. Yeah. I truly believe now that Mike McCarthy didn't fire Terrence Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore didn't want to work for Mike McCarthy no more. Know how I believe that? Know how I know that? Let's make it make sense. If you let Mike McCarthy fire Kellen Moore, how in the hell you gonna come back and interview this guy for the damn job, head coaching job? Come on, man. Y'all. Make it make sense to me, man. This don't make no sense to it. Kellen Moore said, I'm going someplace else. And he left the Cowboys. Because he couldn't run his offense. And it might have been more running in his offense than it was in Mike McCarthy's. I ain't wrong to change up my thing. Say I'm wrong. I'm wrong. Now when I see the evidence pointing that direction, I ain't say I was in love with Kellen Moore. I still think he skipped steps. Still think he need an iron hand guy on him to say this is what we gonna do, and had to relate to it. But I think he took a lot of blame for stuff that, and I think Mike McCarthy let him hang out there to dry because he knew. Listen, when you know everybody where they're going, and he let Dak Prescott hang out and drive a couple times himself. He ain't never fully endorsed Dak Prescott because he didn't want to take none of that heat. They don't fully, and I hate coaches that do that. Don't do that. Our coaches should fully endorse and jump right in with Dak Prescott. So when things come in, they take the heat. But when you half-ass and say certain things, you just leaving it up because you know they're gonna go after Dak Prescott, so you can stay your ass out the heat. And that's what McCarthy did with Kellen Moore and with Dak Prescott. And it's gonna show up again. Watch what I tell you. But I just think we just too thirsty, man. I mean, I might be venting some. A lot of this stuff might not be agreed upon with a lot of people. That's fine. I'm gonna be who I am. I hope it comes down our street. We get to 6. And I listen. I listen to everybody's opinion about what they think, and I listen. And some of them are very good, and I understand the zest of it. But one thing we leaving out is work, continuity, and guys coming along. I leave with a couple of posts that I made. And I want to talk about those posts that I made. Let me see if I can pull up my Twitter account. I leave with a couple of posts that I made on my Twitter account today because I want to. Oh shucks, what was it? What is? D-Law says it'll be his final season. I understand, D-Law. You know, done some great work, son. Great job here. I posted some things on my Twitter account. And I posted a couple of posts on my Twitter account that I thought was very telling. And it was a reason why I posted these things on my Twitter account. Let me share the screen with y'all. Give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen in the chat. Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you can see the screen. These are the things I posted on my Twitter account. My first post that I put out there today was, and I was thinking about when we were talking about we need such a dominant pass rusher. And I was thinking about the Seattle Seahawks won with a collective guys committee of guys approach. I watched I watched Philadelphia last year. Basically, what they did was they were very down in sacks. I think it was a top 5 defense, top 10 defense, but they did a collective get pressure in the quarterback. We had more quarterback hits, but they didn't have what we call dominant pass rushes. But together with inside pressure and whether they were very effective. I watched the New England team last year with a good defense, but they didn't have no guy that was an all-star defensive end. They may have some guys good, but they did it with a approach that we can beat guys, multiple guys on the line of scrimmage, and we got one-on-one. We were going to be able to apply pressure, and then we were going to be able to apply pressure with blitz pressure as well, and we were going to be able to apply pressure to the quarterback with the age of the new NFL. That is the most probably the most dominant way of trying to get to the quarterback and applying pressure from other areas and apply. Kansas City does that a great deal. Their defense has been very good. Everybody talk about Chris. Chris Jones is not no massive sack guy. Kalafis is maybe a 9, 10 sack, 8, 9 guy, but nobody that where we're gonna say that's dominant. But they apply pressure to the quarterback in a many of ways, and they make sure the quarterback feels effective. And I think this defense is being molded to be able to confuse you in the 3-4. And we got to understand something about the 3-4. 3-4 is a magnitude of a defense for zone blitzes and applying pressure from one side of the field, overloading players, guys not coming, and it gives offensive lines hell of recognizing who's coming and when they're coming. And if you play it well, it can make that quarterback hold the ball a second or two, and you're going to get one-on-ones with a lot of people, and there's going to be a lot of guys that's going to win their one-on-ones. It is almost impossible to double team a guy in a 3-4 if you get them in a point where they gotta single up because you make them balance. This is where 3-4 gives you a very big multitude of ways to get to the quarterback. That's why a lot of people like the 3-4, as well as it gives you a better chances of being so versatile that you can stop the run. This is what Christian Parker was saying when he said that linebacker position is overrated if you're the wheel or you're the Mac or the whatever, because in the shift of an offense, guys are going to have to move into certain different roles in the defensive set, so you must be multiple. This is what they've been saying from the start with. They're going to be a multiple type defense. But we have to get out of this, out of thinking of 4-3. 4-3 is a little different. We have had 4-3 for so long that that's our thinking. But this is not our thinking. This is the first interview that Sam Williams had well before we even did minicamp. The first thing out of his mouth is, "I'm going back to my old position as an outside linebacker." That just tells you so. He been playing defensive end in this 3-4, in the 4-3. But they said, no, you're now outside linebacker. So let's think about that in those terms. Quinn Williams is going to dominate in this because he's going to get single coverage, and his pressure is the key to this. Not the outside guys, the guy in the middle. So I think I understand what we're saying. If you put Quinn Williams by a Max Cosby, you were saying, okay, we're going to be dominant on that end. But it's possible, very possible, that you got guys on this team that going to make a name for themselves, just like Diggs made a name for himself. Just like Rebel is starting to make a name for himself. It's possible, very possible. It happens every year. As I always say, in football, names are made every day. And once you get confidence, it starts to roll. And what we're seeing from Sherrod Rebel is confidence. Once it falls in your lap, and you got some talent, and then you start to learn, whoo, you can be held. So I said this because I keep hearing people talking about this trade is, if this trade goes through, it's Charles Haley. I don't see that. I know a lot of people say that we got Charles Haley was the big piece of the puzzle. I think Charles Haley was a big piece of the puzzle because of his football IQ and his Super Bowl experience. But this team was damn near ready made. This team was just as ready made, and I think they were ready made when Deion Sanders came in. And some of the Deion Sanders and the Charles Haley situation mirrored each other in that first year. Because we got to remember, both of them didn't play as much because they was hampered by some injuries. But the teams were already stacked. But when I said that is, I was researching, I said, in my first post, I said in the Dallas Cowboys' second year, the 93 Super Bowl, right? That's the back-to-back Super Bowl. That year, Tony Toba led the team with 7.5 sacks. Jim Jeffcoat had 6 sacks. People forget how dominant Jim Jeffcoat was those first 2 years. Jeffcoat went around when they won the third, when he had retired, but Jeffcoat was a big-time veteran, but Jeffcoat was damn near unstoppable on the edge. People forget how good a defensive lineman Jeffcoat was. This ain't acting no spotlight. Go back and watch I watched the Cowboys. I was an avid Cowboy fan. I know how damn Jeffcoat was dominant Jeffcoat was. And then 5.5 sacks with Charles Haley, and 4 sacks with Charles Haley. That was in 93. In 92, the first year they won the championship, when they had a number 1 defense and no Pro Bowlers. Let me say that again. We had a number 1 defense the first year we won the Super Bowl under Jim Johnson and no Pro Bowlers on defense. And Jeffcoat led us with 10.5 sacks. And I'll tell you, I bet y'all didn't know that fact. But somebody came in, let me go back to what I was saying. Somebody came in, and let me go back to my replies. Somebody came in, a great Cowboy fan came in and said this. They responded, and they said in 1995, the third Super Bowl after 4 years, they came in and said, yeah, in 95, Charles Haley led the team at 10.5 sacks. Tony Toba had 5.5. Chad Henne had 5. Leon Lett had 3. Darren Smith had 3. And that year, Whitney had retired. Jeffcoat had retired. And Charles stepped up. But people don't remember, and then I replied to that because he was correct. But also in 1995, Charles had some bad back issues. He had back issues ever since he was at Dallas. When he came to Dallas, the first year he had some back issues. Now, some people gonna say, "Well, I'm talking bad about Charles Head." This is the truth. And that Super Bowl in '95, he ain't supposed to play because he had back surgery, and his playoff number wasn't that good. But he came out there anyway. But and it was skeptical if he was gonna play after that. But he did play some more years after that. But I said, did you know? Also in '95, Charles almost didn't play in the playoffs, and really, I should say, really didn't have a good playoff because of the back problems. The back problems gave Charles big problems all the years he was in Dallas. It did. His Super Bowl experience and football IQ helped the Cowboys the most. But it was always a committee way to get to the quarterback. Cowboys always thought about committee. They always thought that they could win one-on-ones, and they applied. You see in some of those, you had linebackers that were leading some in the sack total. A committee way. Which, if you got a great committee of a lot of guys getting sacks, it's way more. Listen, it's harder for you to defend, stop guys when you can get guys 5 or 6 guys that got 7, 8 sacks that can win and pressure the quarterback. They might not be monstrous, but they can pressure the quarterback. Man, that's hard. That puts pressure on the offense. But if you got one guy getting 20 sacks and nobody else really pressing the quarterback like that, we can neutralize that. Just double team that guy. And if the other guys ain't used to getting off, they ain't gonna get off. So also, but I also want to say this after I said it was always a committed thing. Look at this line that I said here. Charles' greatest playing years were in San Fran by far. Charles Haley was Defensive Player of the Year in San Fran. I think he had 17 sacks. He had his most sacks. He was dominant at San Fran. San Francisco didn't trade Charles because of his craziness. Yes, he was crazy, and yes, they were full of Charles, and George Seaver wanted to get him out. But guess what? They thought his back issues was going to fail him in Dallas. They thought when he got over there, because they knew about his back injuries, just like Cleveland knew about Myles Garrett knee, just like the Raiders know about the real situation with Max Crosby. But they wanted to get him out of the building, and they didn't. And the Cowboys didn't overpay. I think it was a 3rd-round pick. They said, "Yeah, we'll take him, but we're not gonna overpay," because they knew the back stuff. And I guarantee you that came up in negotiation when they talked about trade offers. They're like, "All right, we'll take him with the back there. We'll see. We'll get it through. We'll work it out. It ain't gonna cause it." But they would have gave him no 1st-round draft pick for it. That was a great move by the Cowboys. But the Cowboys didn't need Charles Haley. The Cowboys ain't need Charles Haley San Francisco numbers. This team was already loaded with Tolbert, Casillas, Lick, Jeffcoat, Jimmy Johnson. This team was already stacked to be a #1 defense already. They was already primed the year before. They just need that dog to come in there, plus the guy to give him that playoff experience. To come in to tell guys of some of the stuff you need to do to get to the championship level. Not no motor guy. You might have those guys, but there's only certain guys can tell you how to win. Play winning football. Charles was good at playing winning football. He was crazy, but he talked about winning football. He always talked about sometimes you got to do that stunt and just go in there and ram yourself in there that allow the next guy to do it. And you always seen him do stuff like that. And he go celebrate with other guys. He was crazy, but Charles' football IQ was at a top level. So then I came here and said this at the bottom of this thing. So I said this. I said this in my post. This is what I was saying in my post. We're gonna need guys to turn talent, guys that we first round picks, guys that we talk about talent wise, talking about uh Izaraku, how we was on him. Now, if he don't do all star stuff in the first year, we as a fan base, we throw him away. We threw Rebel away, but now it's coming. But we're gonna need guys on this team, right? To turn talent and to make stars. And what I said about Charles Haley, and I said when he came here, this team was loaded with guys, was loaded with future stars and names. Tony Tobin wasn't a name yet before Charles had it. He was on the verge. Jeffco should have been a name, but people forgot about him. Leon Nett was not a name yet. People had threw Tony Casillas away because he was a first round draft pick and he didn't make it in Atlanta. But the role he fit in the Cowboys fit Tony Casillas. Dan Woodson, Charles, James Washington, Thomas Everett that came here on and had 2 interceptions in the Super Bowl. They weren't names yet. There were bigger names out there you could win chasing for. They were the youngest team in the NFL too. And history says we won our first Super Bowl in the 70s with the second youngest team in the league. We do that. And we got a very young team now. But guys made their names. But the patience and the thirstiness, we don't want to see guys make names. We want it ready-made. But every year, regardless of the ready-made players you get, you're going to have some of these guys make some names. And they got to come along. It's a must. Ain't no getting around it. It might not be the guys in the defense end, but it's going to be some other guys. It's a must. You can't go out and get a bunch of guys and get everybody to say, okay, we need to go get that. Because that's what we're setting up to do. First, it's going to be defensive end. As soon as a cornerback go trade and get another cornerback. And this is not a diss, but this is not fantasy football. It takes more to put guys in cohesive in the team. And it's going to have to be some guys to make the names, and it's going to have to be some backups that's going to have to make their names too. It might not be a long term, but there's roles that they got to do. And some of these names got to turn talent into stars and names to get to the Super Bowl. Yes, a name would help. But it's time for these players to step up together as a team to win. Let's focus on this team, man, winning, man. Let's don't be a distraction. Ownership does a great job of the distraction. And I will say this as I end. Well, no, I'm gonna say it about my other post, but I will say this as I'm about to end. Ownership can be a distraction, and our voice doesn't matter. But sometimes our voice can be a distraction as well. Sometimes our voice matters in the good, but our voice can matter in the bad too. And we have to be careful about it. Because when we start to see some glimmer of some of these young players, let's challenge them, but let's give them confidence as well. Now, Coach Marv is not one of those people who say, well, I don't, Coach Marv ain't thinking about no trades. He want to go, but it is some things that can help this team. And if you want to go Max Crosby way, hey, that's fine too. But there's some things that I did say that could help this team. And one of those things that I said that can help this team, I put out a post here. And this is one of the posts I put out here by Tony Pollard. I watched Tony Pollard last night, still running good. Tony Pollard got a bad rap here, man. And somebody put out a stat, man. Ain't few players like Tony Pollard that has had, I think, 4 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons with 200-yard pass receiving. Ain't too many backs got that. And does it very quietly, plays hard, a football player. Took a bad rap here because we put expectations way over the top because we don't like running backs. But I said we want to do something. They got a great running back in that backfield now. They got a better running back. So hey man, you make it get Tony Pollard out of there. I said a 3rd or 4th round pick. Might not take that much. Might be a 4th or 5th round pick. But we can maybe go ahead and get Tony Pollard out of Tennessee Titans and back in Dallas. And then I don't say things with just because I'm starstruck. Is I come up with some points why, and these are some valid points. One, he knows and he accepts playing the number 2 role. He did that with Ezekiel Elliott. He knows about being a team player. He's a team guy. 2, he has and can be a running back number 1 and get those type of carries in the game. And wouldn't have no problem. I know some people talk about running tough. Tony Pollard runs tough. He can run inside. I don't even know why we thought he couldn't run inside and he was here. And he can give you that. And, he may not have the burst like he had, but he still got a little burst. And he can catch. And he can block. 3, he knows Dallas. And that's a big thing, man. You bring a guy. That's why they look for guys that know the city. Because, as they tell me, that city can sweep you into a bad situation. So he knows the lay of the land. So it wouldn't be a big adjustment for him. And he also can help on kick returns. I know they've been trying to guys over. We forget about. I know Tony's a little older, but Tony was a hell of a damn kick return for the Cowboys. Got a lot of traction. A lot of people looked at this. A lot of people like this. Some people reposted it. Got some comments coming back. Some, but I think that would be a great. If Blue and them don't work out, I know some people talking about this. I think Tony Pollard would be a better choice than going against somebody like Nick Chubb. I understand we say that meets what Schottenheimer says, but one, I think Tony Pollard, team first guy that knows how to share, been in that situation, does a lot of things, can make some big plays, and he's big time productive and has a role. No injury history, so we'll see. Um, let me get back to and get to this point where so haven't been about a lot of things. I appreciate y'all in the chat. Again, um, if you want to order the t-shirt, we sent some out. We sent some t-shirts out today. Some of the people know that their shirts are on the way. We're going to have the shirts again. If you want to get the t-shirt, let me go ahead and show you again the t-shirt. This is the t-shirt right here, and if you want to order the t-shirt, this is the t-shirt. Email Coach Marv 1914 at gmail.com. Your size, your address, and illustrate on in your email that you want the charcoal gray or you want the navy blue t-shirt. We can order small all the way up to 5 extra larges, 4X and 5X is going to be additional $5 for the shirt. The shirt with the shirt and the printing and all the stuff is $35. It's come with this is a very nice screen printed shirt, very good t-shirt, a very good quality t-shirt. Plus shipping and handling. We're trying to cut down the shipping and handling. We can get more about. We're trying to cut it down. Posters that went up, but so we're trying to make sure we do it as cheap as possible with the shipping and handling. We Once you send your email in, we'll send you a return email telling you about what your total price, how to send your prices, send your money off, so we can proceed with the order. We have had some people that have emailed the show emailed and said they want a T-shirt, and we gave the response about it. And there was no response. Back. I don't know if they thought that the shirt was too much, but a quality shirt like this is not a $5 or $10 shirt. That print right there costs more than $5 to put with the background and stuff. This is not this. We even did a regular print with this. Defense is a weapon, and this a lettering and print on there. Yes, we would say okay, but this shirt has a background with highlights in it, so it's gonna stand out. People gonna know who you are, who you representing, and it's gonna pop. That navy blue with that silver is gonna pop. That charcoal gray with that navy blue and silver pops, and that thing jumps off the screen. I know you see me when I had my picture with mine on, and I got so many compliments of people, haters and Cowboy fans alike, saying, "Hey, and listen." When I did this T-shirt, we didn't have no evidence of the defense playing well. You should think about getting on board as this defense started to play well, because it's going to be a hot item. I believe in this defense. I believe in this staff. I just think continuity. I think this is a picture perfect situation like it was 2-3 years ago. But I think we are in a better light than we were 2-3 years ago. And I think we are in a much better light than we were 2-3 years ago. And I think we can really rock and roll this year. I want to say something else as I get off here. I can say what I'm wrong, and I will say this, and I'm not gonna say I'm wrong on this area, because I know some people gonna say, Coach, you know A lot of people tell me that I was a hater of George Pickens. No, I understand who George Pickens is. I understand some of what happened in Pittsburgh was his fault. And I understand when you're a young man, and I understand he has come, I think, being around a guy like Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb has helped his career a whole lot. I did a show not too long ago when I talked about um, George Pickens and uh, um, but I said this is the show I did. That's why I'm glad I got this up here. I did this show. I did this show. Um, so when I say I started believing in George Pickens. Um, nope, I don't have hoodies. But if you send it now, we could do a hoodie. Now a hoodie may be just a little bit more of a cost. I know we're getting into the cold part of the season, but um I can have my vendor to say what a black a navy blue hoodie would cost. But we're talking about probably $10 more for a hoodie because again, putting this screen print on that hoodie is going to be this is a bright screen print, but I will look into that, Duncan. I really will look into that. I appreciate you. That's again, and we have towels. Um, and you can see the towel in the background. I got towels as well. So, but getting back to what I was saying, I'm gonna show the towel after I get off this screen right here. But I want to tell you what I said about Pickens. I did a show and I talked about the new culture and I talked about Pickett's growth as a professional. So when I can say I can see a growth in a professional, I see a great growth as a professional at Pickens. I understand when he's in a situation where you know they're not talking about it. I can understand. I can understand that. I understand that the Cowboys are really in the driver's seat. I also understand that Pickens understands what he has here in Dallas and the quarterback he has. And the receiver room that is in there. And I understand that he said well, I can't let up because with this receiver room, somebody else will step in my shoes. They may not be as good, but we're gonna be great. I still think that CeeDee Lamb is the number one wide receiver on this football team. I yeah, I believe that. Some people want to debate that, but I think consistency and longevity over time is a key in judging guys. Yeah, we probably get a long sleeve shirt though. Yeah, we probably get a long sleeve shirt for you, Doug. And I have, and thank you. We're gonna look into hoodies and long sleeve shirts because we understand we're getting into the winter time with football. Yeah, we would definitely look into that. All right, appreciate you. I really appreciate that. Yes, we're gonna look into and I think it's gonna in that long sleeve T-shirt maybe rounded in the same price, maybe $1 two more. But we talking about hoodie, it might be a little bit more. But man, that screen print that I have with that Dallas on the hoodie, woo, that's gonna pop. It pops on the navy blue shirt. It'll really pop. So I'll have to find out, and I will tell you how much that was. I just need to find out from my vendor how much it is. But the regular T-shirt from small to um triple X, we do it for $35 in shipping and handling. That screen print is the thing. See, the regular screen print is those type of transfer with that background in it costs us a little bit. So and yes, so and of course, it is, so we doing that, and then we got in this shirts we also have my logo on them as well. So anytime you have your logo on it costs, so I don't think we're being outrageous with that cost. Okay. Yeah, we used to put it on the front, but we could put yours on the back if you want it. That would be great. Of your hoodie. That would be great. So yes, and if you order the hoodie and we tell you what the price, email me uh Warren, email me on this right here. Take this email address, right? Email me the stuff, that same thing, that same conversation about a hoodie and all that stuff, and we'll contact you back with that when we get done, and we'll back and forth with the email, and if we can get my vendor get that, and my print lady can get that printed on there, we can tell you what the cost is, and when we can do that, we're doing that, man, because we appreciate you being a part of the show. And if you get a chance, anybody out there, like, comment, subscribe, as well as join the channel. Anybody who joins the channel for more than 2 months, when we come out with shirts and stuff like that, we give them free shirts and a free towel. But you got to be a member for more than 2 months. One of the people we had has been a member for 7 months, and we sent his shirt out today. This is the towel too, Duncan. This is a man. See, this is not no flimsy towel. This is a good towel, man. This is yeah. You can wipe the sweat off on you. Then you got to worry about this towel falling apart on you. This is a navy blue towel with the defense as the weapon on it. Now the towels that we'll be selling will have a small logo of mine on it. We just ain't had the logo print on this, but this is defensive weapon. So you have a terrible towel as well. And these towels is this is a good towel between between $10 and $15 because these towels print this on this towel is a good towel. These none of the shirts or the towels we got are cheap. We getting the best shirts and colored shirts and towels. So that's and man, you got something to be the pops on that. So email me, Duncan, all your ideas, and then we can probably send back some ideas and we can send you back some ideas about and try to get that done. But we appreciate you dealing with the channel. I'm gonna say this right quick for Pat Pickens. I know I'm running over. I know we saving some money, and I know having a $30 million wide receiver is $30 million wide receivers is crazy. Are the Cowboys maneuvering themselves to have $30 million wide receivers? Probably so. They might be impressed by Pickens working as hard as he worked. And I think they might want to reward Pickens for Pickens being on this team. I don't know if Pickens gonna get 35 or 40 million, but I think they may have him in the same category as CeeDee Lamb. And I think this maneuvering is not with the Quinn Williams is not because I don't think it's because you're about to bring another guy in with a big salary. I may be wrong. I think this maneuvering is to fit Pickens in. Now, how you do that? If you want a guy like Pickens, hey Ginger, that's the person right there. One Duncan. I don't know if she was in on that conversation, but that's the orchestrator, the person I got to get in touch with, and we'll try to see if we can make that. But just send me that email and we can work with that email. I think this is about the work Pickens in. I think the Cowboys are very impressed by Pickens being a professional. There was some rocky stuff last year with his growth, but I think that they can trust him by him being professional. I think he's building a trust by how he's working in this training camp. Yes, yeah. I think we can get long sleeve, and he was talking about a hoodie as well. That's a special order, but we can maybe try to do that too. But he'll send us the email, baby. I think again, I think that this is trying to work Pickens in. I think that they want to do something for the defense, as I will, because I think they like the leadership qualities. I think they want leaders on this team. But to sign Pickens and to have Quentin Williams and maybe sign somebody else that's coming in the near future, because there's nobody else really that's coming up really in the near future. And you got your nucleus of guys. Everybody can't be a star. You're going to need Shotty and his coaching staff. I'm gonna tell y'all something that this is the truth. Um, let me check it right quick for you. Did you send it to that one? And Coach Marv 1914. I didn't get anything in yet, so it may be taking a minute to come in. It may be taking a minute to come in, but I didn't get anything yet, Mr. Duncan. But let me finish my point. And make sure you email it to that. But let me say this. Yeah, kick the pylon in the practice with 15-yard penalty in a real game. Yes, I understand, but there's a lot of people. A lot of people throwing the ball up in the air, throwing the ball. Everybody doing that. The linebacker got an interception. He ran down the field and he threw the ball up in the air. Everybody doing stuff because they understand that this is this practice. Okay, we understand. We will hope we're not tolerating that in the game. I understand that. So okay, but he's being very professional, and I think the Cowboys are loving that professionalism by him going and doing his thing because he's getting better. And I think the Cowboys going to reward him if he fits his role, and they think that this is going to be a very good marriage made in heaven. I think it's two things that I don't want to happen. One, I don't want us to say we got these two guys and we forget about everybody else. We got these two guys and we forget about the physicality. I think once they get paid, the numbers of winning championships and winning big games should be their their feed deal, not by numbers. And I know it's better for you to get him his pay now so he doesn't worry about numbers. He may worry about numbers now because he hadn't gotten his paycheck. And I hope that doesn't come into the point because there might be less numbers this year, but his effectiveness and we might win more. So that's what I want. But I think that this is trying to fit. Yeah, I got it now, Mr. Warren. I got it, Mr. Duncan. I got it in there now. I got your email. I appreciate it. I got your email. We'll respond to you. So we gotta think about that. So I think this is to fit him in for their structure and to have somebody on the defense. But when you're talking about paying guys big money, your coaching staff comes in important. Now listen, let me give y'all something that nobody else give you. When you talking about signing big players and making big moves like this, your coaching staff is important. The Rams have the ability to go get Miles, go get a big guy like what name and make one trade for a couple of big name guys because their coaching staff must put guys in third round draft picks, second round undrafted free agents, what they got out there, and they got to get these productive for these guys to fit around the guys they got, and they need them to produce. You got to put your coaching skills on. You can't run away from coaching because you can't go by everybody. If you tell ownership I want you to these certain spots, then I mean the rest of it you got to develop and got to get them to play. We can't go get it. Oh, we got to go get another superstar. If you got to chase superstars in every position, then you need to get somebody else out there to coach because in business, football, it's the exact same thing. Everything is relative. When you got a guy as the manager, if I got to go get the best equipment out of everything and spend all this money, and I can see another company over here got a little less equipment and they producing just as much as I'm producing, then we got a problem. This is why they want teachers. Because it's been said in that one name, I need guys to take some of these guys that we have been very happy with and get their ass to the next level. Because some of them we're gonna let ride. And we're gonna pay for some money here and there. But I need you to get these other guys around them to be dogs in their roles. That's what KC do. They let a guy walk in a minute. That's what San Francisco do. Yeah, they would have got Evans. Then they got Debo on the sweetheart deal. Yeah. So, as I always say, y'all got both your emails, Mr. Duncan. As I always say, man, no one, nothing can stop God's will. Enjoy the game tomorrow. I won't see the game with y'all tomorrow. I got an event I got to go to, so I'm gonna be locked into that church event tomorrow. I can't get out of it, so I'm gonna record the game. I got the game gonna be recorded, and I'm gonna be able to watch it and break down. And I'll probably be out there on Sunday or late Saturday night. I may come on and put some out there that my feelings about the first preseason game that the Cowboys had. I thank y'all so much for your time. No one and nothing can stop God's will. And have a discerning spirit, man. Please remember about have a discerning spirit. That's the same thing I was saying about some of these rumor mills they going out there. Be diligent to think about things, man. Don't fall for the okie doke. All right? Don't fall for the okie doke. Be diligent to watch these things, man. Yeah, they got some pretty good linebackers. And they coached them up. That's why they let Webster's go. Because they knew they had guys behind him that they need to let play. And we wouldn't do stuff like that. If Winters played that good for us, we wouldn't let him go. Know why? We say Kobe Durant. If Kobe Durant played for us, our fan base will be talking about keeping him to death. Guess what they said? We're gonna let him go. And we're gonna still be good. So that's what you got, man. So remember that. Make sure you have a discerning spirit. Make sure God is first to discern you by everything that's going on. Until next time, man, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the football that's out there. Watch other teams. Very good, Mr. Duncan. I'm glad you said that. Watch other teams. You'll see everybody got the same type of problems with us, developing talent and developing people and trying to get guys to play and try to raise their level so their stars can be surrounded by guys that fit their roles. You can be the same way. Let's not get out of that thing where we chasing stars. We all right. We got a good thing here. We just got to keep on going to work. Cowboy coaches, Cowboy players, keep your mind on your work. Peace.